Angela slammed the grocery bag on the counter so hard. A jar of marinara tipped out and rolled across the tile. I'm not going to be a waitress in this house anymore. I blinked, still holding my wrench from the garage. Waitress? She turned, eyes blazing. Yeah, that's what I am, right? I take orders, bring food, clean up the mess, and no one even looks me in the eye while I do it. I look down at the grease on my hands, the sweat on my shirt. I've been fixing the damn water heater for 3 hours. Wow. Gold medal for plumbing. And what do I win for cleaning up after you every day? You think I sit around while you do everything? No, Tom. I think you believe that fixing a pipe buys you out of everything else. Like effort is only measured in busted knuckles and toolboxes. The fridge clicked shut behind her, unopened. She was pacing now. Sharp, angry steps that matched every word. I wake up, clean, shop, make dinner, keep your schedule straight, and I get a nod. If I'm lucky. But the second you tighten a screw, you expect a parade. That's not fair, isn't it? I cook. No thanks. I fold your shirts. No thanks. I make sure the bills are paid, your lunch is packed, your prescriptions picked up. Nothing. You act like I'm doing nothing because it doesn't make noise or smell like gasoline. I never said that. You don't have to say it, Tom. You show it. Every time you walk past the laundry, I folded like it was part of the furniture. Every time you come home from work and go straight to the garage instead of asking how I'm doing. I tried to speak, but the words caught. And that pause, God, I shouldn't have hesitated. That's what I thought, she said, voice low now. Silence is easy when the work isn't yours. You think this is easy for me? I shot back, louder now. You think I don't feel like a damn ghost in this house too? That I haven't noticed you stopped laughing, stopped touching me, stopped even looking at me like I matter? Angela's lip trembled, but she didn't break. You know what I see when I look at you now, she said. A man so buried in being useful, he forgot how to be present. That one hit deeper than I wanted to admit. She turned and walked upstairs without another word. The silence that followed was thick. Not angry, worse. Hollow. I slept on the couch. Didn't even try the bedroom door. Just laid there staring at the ceiling fan spinning like it had all the answers. My name's Tom. I'm 38. I fix broken things for a living. But this marriage, I didn't know where to begin. And tomorrow, I'd have to try, or lose everything. The morning air bit harder than usual. I climbed the ladder with a toolbox under one arm and regret under the other. The gutters had been clogged since spring. The roof had a few shingles curling like paper. I figured fixing what I could might fix what I couldn't. By 10 a.m., the sun was already turning my shirt into a second skin. Sweat clung to my spine, mixing with the grit of asphalt and roofing tar. Every hammer swing echoed in my chest like a slow apology. I didn't see Angela's car pull in, just heard the engine cut, the clatter of keys, the sigh as she opened the front door. I waited for a hey, or even a glance upward. Nothing, just silence. 10 minutes later, I made my move. Climbing down, my knees aching, I wiped my face with the edge of my sleeve and stepped into the kitchen. She was unpacking groceries, again, sliding items onto shelves like a machine. I watched her for a second longer than I should have. Hey, I said gently. Can you maybe throw something together for lunch? I just want to finish this patch job before it rains. She didn't look up, just froze, hands still on a box of pasta. Then she turned. You want me to cook for you? Her voice was sharp, like she'd been waiting for this line, just hoping I'd hand her the match. I wasn't asking for a 4-course meal, I said quickly. Just something simple while I finished the right. Because that's what I am now. The simple solution. The sandwich lady. Her words landed harder than I expected. Angela, come on. I've been up there all morning, trying to fix this place up, and you think effort equals empathy? She tossed the pasta box on the counter. You think sweating under the sun buys you the right to treat me like the help? I shook my head, already feeling heat rising in my throat. I never said you were the help. No, but you act like it. You only notice me when something's empty. The fridge, the laundry basket, your stomach. I rubbed the back of my neck, pulse ticking. If we're keeping score, maybe we should talk about everything I do around here. Oh good, she said. The scoreboard. Let's measure our marriage in labor points. I was losing control of the conversation, so I said something I shouldn't have. If you're not a waitress, then I'm not your wallet. She froze, like I'd slapped her, and for a long second, neither of us said a thing. Then came the storm. Angela stepped toward me, eyes glassy with rage. You think I'm here for your money? You think the reason I'm angry is because I want more stuff? I didn't mean it like that. Yes, you did. Her voice cracked. You've been waiting to say that. To remind me you bring in the paycheck. That without you, I'd be lost. No. I feel invisible too, Angela. Like nothing I do matters unless it breaks or bleeds. We stood there. Kitchen island between us. Resentment piled high like the groceries. You want a medal for showing up? She whispered. So do I. She left the bag half unpacked and walked away. And that's how we ended up, again, on opposite sides of the house. Like two people sharing a mortgage, not a life. Funny thing is, I didn't even want a sandwich. Just a sign we were still on the same team. Evening draped itself over the house like a heavy coat we didn't ask to wear. She didn't come down for dinner. I didn't ask her to. Instead, I microwaved leftover stew, ate alone at the kitchen table, and listened to the muffled sound of her moving upstairs. A drawer opening, a zipper sliding, the faint scrape of a hanger pulled from the closet. By the time I climbed the stairs to check in, just to try one more time, she was standing at the foot of the bed with a small duffel bag in her hand. Not the big luggage, not a suitcase, just enough to say, I don't need much to walk away from this. You going somewhere? I asked, even though I already knew the answer. She didn't look angry, just clear, like something had clicked for her. I'm staying at Melissa's, she said, just for a few days, maybe longer. Melissa, her college friend who always smelled like lavender and tension. She lived across town with her yoga instructor husband and 2 mini decorative pillows. Angela went there when she wanted to remember who she used to be. I swallowed the lump in my throat. You need some air? I need something, she said, her voice steady. This house feels like a trap. I walk in and forget who I am. I wanted to say, I forget who I am too, but I didn't. Instead, I asked, what are you hoping to find over there? She looked down at her bag. Clarity. I nodded slowly, the weight of it all pressing into my chest. And what happens if you find out the problem isn't the house? She paused at that, just long enough to let hope flicker, then blew it out. I'm not here to debate, she said. I just need to go. Is this one of those test the husband's patience trips? Or is this real? Angela's eyes finally met mine. Either way or no way. That was it. The fork in the road. I stood there, arms at my sides, heart racing but steady on the surface. Then no, I said. The words surprised even me. They came out clean. No pleading. No dramatics. Just final. Angela's lips parted like she wanted to say something. But nothing came. She grabbed her keys and her bag, walked past me with a breeze of perfume and unfinished memories. She didn't slam the door. That would have meant emotion. She just shut it like it was the last page in a chapter she'd already read twice. And I stood in the hallway, staring at the space where she'd been, feeling like a man who had just turned off the power in his own house. Not because he wanted darkness, but because the light was costing too much. The silence was a different kind of loud. It wasn't the kind that screamed. It was the kind that hummed, through the fridge, through the vents, through the hollow center of every room she used to occupy. I came home the next evening after a long day at the district warehouse, replaced a sink, fixed a busted stall door, laughed at a coworker's bad joke like everything was normal, then pulled into the driveway to a house that felt too symmetrical, too still. Her car wasn't there. Neither were her shoes by the door, or the scent of her peppermint shampoo lingering in the hallway. I kicked off my boots, walked through the house, and didn't turn on the lights. Just let the fading daylight show me what was missing. Half the groceries still sat where she left them. A jar of almond butter unopened. A bag of kale turning limp in the crisper. I didn't touch it. Somehow it felt like moving those things might erase her entirely. Dinner was a microwave burrito and a warm beer. I ate standing up. Then I tried keeping busy. Tightened the loose hinge on the bathroom cabinet. Scrubbed the grout in the hallway just for something to do. But my hands weren't in it. My mind wasn't either. Every corner I turned, I expected her to be there. Folding towels. Talking to the cat she always swore didn't like her. Humming that one Sia song under her breath like she didn't know the lyrics. But the house was quiet. And that quiet got inside my skin. 3 days passed like that. Me fixing things that didn't need fixing. Sleeping on one side of the bed like the other might collapse under the weight of pretending she was still there. On the 4th night, I finally picked up my phone. Just stared at her name for a while. Angela, wife, still sat under her contact picture. An old selfie, summer-lit and wind-blown, from a road trip we never finished. I typed, just wondering how you're doing. Then stared at those 7 words like they were written in fire. I didn't ask her to come home. Didn't guilt her. Just sent the message. A digital knock on a door I wasn't sure I still had permission to approach. The screen dimmed. No dots. No reply. Nothing. I set the phone down on the nightstand and let my eyes adjust to the dark. This was the part no one warned you about. The days after the argument, after the declaration, after the bag left with someone else. No explosion. No dramatic showdown. Just silence. But silence doesn't mean peace. Sometimes, it's just the sound of 2 people drifting in opposite directions. The knock came on a Wednesday night, just as I was rinsing the last coffee mug from the morning I'd forgotten to drink. 3 soft taps. Not urgent. Not hostile. Just uncertain. I dried my hands slowly, heartbeat thudding low in my ears. When I opened the door, there she was. Angela, wearing the same coat she used to wear on our grocery runs. Oversized, gray, sleeves swallowing her wrists. Her eyes were red, and her suitcase stood upright beside her like it was holding her steady. She didn't say anything right away. Just stood there, eyes scanning mine like she was looking for a fight or a lifeline. Melissa and her husband left for a cruise this morning, she said quietly. I blinked. Cruise. They'd had it booked for months. Anniversary thing. You didn't know? I knew, she said. I just thought I'd be gone before then. I stepped aside, gesturing in silence. She rolled the suitcase past me like it weighed more than luggage should. I closed the door behind her, unsure whether this was an arrival or a delay. She didn't move further into the house, just stood near the doorway, fingers laced in front of her like a child waiting to be scolded. I'm not here to make things harder, she said, eyes fixed on the floor. I just didn't have anywhere else to go. The words sat between us like something fragile and sharp. I wanted to ask why not stay at a hotel? Or did you think this was still your home? But instead, I asked what felt real. You eat anything today? Angela looked up, surprised. Some trail mix. On the drive. I nodded toward the kitchen. There's soup. Leftover. Not great, but hot. She followed me in without another word. We moved around each other like ghosts, silent, precise, unsure. I pulled out bowls. She found the spoons. She knew where everything still lived. And that stung more than I expected. Over dinner, she barely touched her food. I thought Melissa would talk me out of leaving, she said finally. That she'd tell me I was being dramatic or selfish. And she didn't. I sat back, watching her swirl the spoon through the broth. Guess she's not big on guilt trips. Angela gave a weak laugh. No, just actual trips. We were quiet again. This time not tense, just hollow. She looked up, and for the first time in weeks, I saw something real flicker in her eyes. Regret? Loneliness? Maybe both. I didn't expect the door to open, she said softly. I didn't expect you to knock. Angela nodded slowly, setting the spoon down. I won't stay long. I just needed to be somewhere familiar, for one night. I wanted to ask what that meant. If this was the first step back or just a momentary retreat from the world she'd chosen. But I didn't push. Not yet. Some wounds don't close under pressure. Some silences need to breathe before they speak. She slept in the guest room. I didn't ask if she needed anything else. And long after the house went still again, I sat in the kitchen, staring at her untouched soup and wondering which part of her felt more foreign to me now. The woman at the door, or the wife I used to know. I woke to the smell of coffee. Not the store-brand stuff I'd been using out of habit. The good beans. The ones Angela used to grind fresh on weekends, humming under her breath while the kettle whistled. I sat up slow, unsure if I was dreaming, until I heard the clink of mugs and soft footsteps in the kitchen. She was there, hair tied up, wrapped in one of my old flannel shirts. She looked smaller in the morning light, like the anger had melted off her and left something quieter behind. Hope you don't mind, she said, holding out a mug. Figured it's still your kitchen. I took it, nodding. You remembered how I like it. She gave a tired smile. Some things don't go away. We sat at the kitchen table without speaking for a minute. Just the sound of spoons tapping and the gentle hum of the fridge. Angela was the first to break the silence. Melissa and Jake, they talk, she said, not quite looking at me. Like, actually talk. About everything. Even the stuff that doesn't feel good. He tells her when he's tired. She tells him when she's lonely. And they don't act like that means something's broken. I nodded slowly. Sounds exhausting. She laughed. Really laughed this time. Soft and surprised by itself. Yeah, but also kind of brave. I didn't answer. I wasn't sure where this was going. She set her cup down. I kept thinking peace meant quiet. No arguments. No tension. But all I ever did was shove things down until I exploded. Her fingers fidgeted with the edge of the napkin. I thought if I kept doing everything, kept saying yes, you'd just know that I was drowning. I leaned back in the chair, feeling the words settle. I didn't know, I said, but I should have. I got used to you being solid, handling things. I thought that meant you were okay. I stopped being okay months ago. I stopped asking months ago. That silence wasn't uncomfortable this time. Just honest. Angela looked up then, eyes glinting with something I hadn't seen in a long time. Not defiance. Not resentment. Hope. This kitchen, she said, glancing around. It used to be our war zone. Every fight somehow ended here. And now, she shrugged. Now it's where I say I'm sorry. I stared at her for a second. At the flushed cheeks, the damp eyelashes, the way her shoulders curled in like she wasn't sure she was allowed to speak her heart out loud. I'm sorry too, I said, for not seeing you. For waiting until the roof leaked to fix the damn house. We sat there a little longer. Two people who had built walls between them brick by quiet brick. But now, maybe we'd found the first loose one to pull out. I'm not promising I've figured it all out, Angela said, voice soft. But I want to. She reached across the table, fingers brushing mine. And I want to try with you. My hand didn't hesitate this time. Then let's try, I said. But no more guessing games. No more swallowing silence. She smiled. Deal. And for the first time in months, the kitchen didn't feel like a battlefield. It felt like home. Morning sunlight filtered through the blinds in long, soft lines across the hardwood. It painted everything golden, like the house itself was exhaling for the first time in weeks. Angela stood by the fridge, tapping the top of the cooler she'd just packed. Did I forget the ice packs? I held them up, already in hand. You mean these? She smiled, reaching for them. I used to think you were bad at packing. I've evolved, I said. Survival instinct. She zipped the cooler closed, then glanced down at our matching hiking boots near the door. They weren't new, just never used. Bought during one of those hopeful conversations we used to have. We should hike more. Get out of the city. Reconnect. Back then, it was just talk. Today, it felt like a plan. I loaded the car slowly, double-checking the straps. Not because I needed to, just because I wanted this to go right. Angela emerged from the house holding a map and 2 granola bars. GPS is good, but let's not pretend we won't lose signal in the woods. Adventure, right? I said, shutting the trunk. She nodded. Right. We climbed in. The car smelled like coffee and cedar from a fresh air freshener she'd hung earlier. She reached across the gear shift without a word, and I took her hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. No music played for a while. Just the quiet hum of tires on asphalt and the occasional bird flashing past the window. After a few miles, she spoke. You know, I used to think we weren't allowed to be broken, she said. That if something cracked, it meant we failed. I nodded, eyes on the road. Yeah, I thought fixing it meant pretending it was never broken. Angela turned her face toward the window, voice softer. But maybe cracks just mean we've been through something. Doesn't mean we're ruined. We drove on. Past the suburbs, past the gas stations and grocery stores and silent rooms we'd spent too much time in. And slowly, the air shifted. Out there, away from the noise, the tension, and the tight-lipped habits, we started talking. Really talking. Not therapy sessions, not scripted, how do you feel prompts. Just us. About little things. About fears. About the parts we forgot to say out loud back when we were too busy being fine. The mountains loomed in the distance, calm and steady. We pulled off the road at a trailhead Angela had circled on the map. I shouldered the cooler, and she took the bag. We walked in silence for a while, not out of discomfort, but comfort, a different kind of quiet. And then, somewhere in the middle of a winding trail, where the trees thinned and the breeze carried just the hint of pine and damp soil, I heard it. Her laugh. Not the one people hear at parties. Not the polite one she gives coworkers. Her real laugh. It caught me off guard, made me stop walking and just listen. Angela turned. What? Nothing, I said. Just missed that sound. She smiled. And in that moment, nothing was fixed. Nothing was perfect, but everything was possible. We'd both been wrong. Peace wasn't silence. It was space. Room for two voices, even when they don't always agree. Room for hard conversations, for softness, for flaws. And somewhere along that dirt trail, the weight we'd carried for so long began to lift. Not all at once, but enough. If this story moved you, even just a little, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have you ever seen a relationship come back from the edge? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, I'll be waiting for you in the next story.